Good evening. Welcome to the Newsdesk at 20 hours. Thank you so much for joining us. Very soon, we'll be giving you a detailed update of the stories that have been making headlines throughout the day. And some of these stories you can be able to catch from our various platforms, from our social media platforms to our website. That's diamondtvzambia.com. Coming up shortly are the headlines. Traders protest as authorities demolish more stalls in Lusaka's Chilenge area. Stigma hinders reintegration of Livingston resident after overcoming mental illness. And calls grow for dialogue over Edgar Lungu's final resting place amid ongoing litigation. I'll be right back with more of the details. Good evening once again. Thank you for joining us on tonight's edition of the Newsdesk at 8 p.m. To present it, my name is Justin Mulenga. Let's start off with the first news item. Chilenge Ward Councillor Ruben Mwenya has expressed disappointment with Lusaka City Council for failing to engage him prior to a demolition exercise along Masetunya Road on Wednesday night. Now, the councillor has criticized the council's approach, urging it to avoid working in isolation. He has emphasized the importance of involving local elected officials in operational decisions to promote unity and coordination within the council. During the latest exercise, LCC demolished several illegal structures, including 8 unauthorized mobile money booths along Masetunya Road and 1 makeshift structure along Tokyo Way. This follows an early operation on Sunday, the 17th of August, which resulted in the removal of 34 illegal makeshift structures along the same road, including a car wash near High Life off Ring Road, Tokyo Way.
The Lusaka City Council has carried out another night operation targeting illegal structures in the capital. Between 18 and 23 hours on Wednesday, council police, working hand in hand with state police, swung into action, demolishing 8 illegal mobile money booths along Masetunya Road and pulling down a makeshift structure on Tokyo Way. The night demolitions have drawn mixed reactions, with area councillor expressing displeasure on how the operation was conducted without his consent.
Also, what is very sad for me is being area councillor, I think I should have also been informed of whatever was going to be happening so that I've got correct answers, because it's like I've been just ambushed. I have to find a way of calming people down and, if possible, try to defend the actions that took place, which is very unfortunate because it now shows like we are working in isolation. They are doing their own things, we are doing our own things. But you see, for it to be called a council, it is the assembly of councillors that are going to make decisions on behalf of the people and the institution itself.
However, some traders say that the action has robbed them of their only source of livelihood. They argue that while the council insists on order, alternative trading spaces remain limited and inaccessible for many small-scale operators.
Quite disturbing, and money was spent here to put up this structure, and I think I don't know how it will be how to manage from here. Like in short, I'm shattered. I don't know where to start from, actually, to be honest with you.
President himself, vanakamba kuti mulusaka simogona chabe kulizavi nkhonono mulusaka ni moshta banji ni mo sevens.
I remember very correctly, the president said that Lusaka is not for sleeping, it is for working. Therefore, we found work and business to do, but now the same government, the same authorities are taking that away from us.
It can cost you about $15.
Those booths, they cost a lot of money for us to brand them and erect them where they were here, but now we've lost all of that investment. Who will compensate us? I'm really failing to express how disappointed I am right now. The Lusaka City Council maintains that the crackdown is necessary to restore sanity and promote lawful business operations in line with the law.
Despite issuing warnings and enforcement notices to, traders, they then refused to comply with the directive, leaving us, with no option but to simply move in and, correct the situation.
Authorities have further urged residents to report any illegal structures within their communities as inspections and surveillance intensify across the city. Elfie Mwale Shampande, Diamond News.
More from the news desk. Residents of Kazomba and Solwezi have expressed growing concern over road construction works in the area, which they say have resulted in excessive dust levels. Community members have told Diamond News that the dust is disrupting daily activities and raising serious health concerns. As many residents say, they have reported respiratory complications, allergies and other health problems attributed to the thick dust clouds blanketing the neighborhood. The situation has been worsened by the lack of adequate water resources to dampen the dust and prevent it from becoming airborne. Local authorities and the construction company have since been urged to take immediate action to mitigate the dust and safeguard public health.
A thick cloud of dust that has become a major concern for the residents of Kazomba in Solwezi as ongoing road construction projects continue to kick up large amounts of dust into the air. The dust storm has significantly affected the daily lives of the local population, raising serious health concerns among residents.
As much as we appreciate that we are being given this road, we appreciate that. But we have a challenge, we have a problem with the contractor because he's working in the midst of the community, whereby this road is giving us a lot of dust. This time around is dry season, you see. What they're supposed to be doing is to be applying water all the time. But in this case, you find maybe just once in a week. The whole 7 days, you find there is no water, and a lot of dust is affecting our people here. The children suffering with coughing, sneezing. When you go in our houses here, you find a lot of dust all over. You can't even eat food properly. Dust is all over.
The dust cloud has led to increased respiratory problems, particularly among children, the elderly, and individuals with pre-existing health conditions.
As I'm talking, I have a chest pain. All the dust which is coming enters my house. Enters my mouth, the lungs, the chest. The sneezing, the coughing. Actually, we are facing a lot of challenges and diseases. The end of this road, we expect a lot of patients flocking to the hospital.
They are urging authorities to implement measures such as watering down construction sites and dust control policies to minimize health risks associated with the ongoing projects. The dust is unbearable and it is affecting our health and everyday activities. We need the government to come and help us before this situation worsens. As the construction continues, the community remains hopeful that the authorities will prioritize their health and take swift measures to control the dust nuisance in Kazomba. Mlenga Walia, Diamond News, Solwezi, Northwestern Province.
Over in the southern part of the country, a 55-year-old man from Livingston has gone public about the stigma he continues to face despite recovering from a mental illness. Now, Ian Banda has told Diamond News that some members of his community still refer to him using demeaning terms, making it difficult for him to reintegrate fully. Now, Mr. Banda has added that the stigma has also affected his cleaning business as it has become difficult to attract customers. And the Livingston University Teaching Hospital has emphasized that mental illness is treatable and urged the public to show support and acceptance to people living with the condition.
Mental health is often described as a silent battle, one that goes far beyond stereotypes of picking peppers or scavenging for food. In Mulala settlement of Livingston District, southern Zambia, 55-year-old Ian Banda has openly shared his journey with mental illness. But while he has received treatment and recovered, stigma continues to shadow his life. Opportunities remain closed not because of his skills, but because of his past.
We didn't know that the one who stays at this house is a mental patient. He is a condemned person, according to. I feel bad because I'm a human being. In fact, it's not even acceptable to call somebody a condemned person.
After recovery, Ian started a small cleaning business. Yet, unlike his competitors, his biggest challenge is not inflation or competition, it is rejection. Each day without customers is a painful reminder that healing is not just about medicine, but also about acceptance.
This situation has affected me negatively, especially in terms of business. They have even gone to the extent that they are telling my customers that they should not give me jobs because I'm a condemned person. So it has affected me negatively.
Bernard Chaibela, who heads the mental health clinic and psychiatry at Livingston University Teaching Hospital, emphasizes that fighting stigma is just as vital as medical treatment.
It's very possible for them to recover because, for example, recovery simply means getting back to the previous level of functioning. Okay, for all substance-related disorders, after they have come here, we'll have put them on medication. Then we also put intervention which we call non-pharmacological, where we talk about counseling, motivation interviewing, functional analysis, and cognitive behavioral therapy. Our people do recover and they even go back to the society and find others to bring here to seek similar services that we offer.
Civic leaders are also lending their voices. Livingston Mayor Constance Muleabai has urged fellow politicians to become ambassadors of hope and inclusion for people who have experienced mental illness.
They are not always harmful. They are defensive because of the way we treat them. Let us try and find time to embrace them and understand what they're looking for. Some of them may not speak to you, but they may just come for clean food. Please give them clean food and support them and hopefully get them to medical institutions that can treat them.
Experts agree treatment and recovery are possible, but for Ian Banda, true healing will only be complete when society embraces him for who he is, not for the illness he once battled. Gabriel Josas Mova, Diamond News, Southern Zambia.
In some political news, Opposition Economic Front President Winter Kabimba has urged the Zambian government and the Lungu family to resolve disputes over the barrio site of former President Edgar Lungu outside the courts. Speaking on Diamond TV's Diamond Live program, Mr. Kabimba said both parties should step back from litigation and clearly state their goals. He stressed that since Mr. Lungu did not die as a private citizen, the matter carries public interest and should be handled with broader national considerations. Mr. Lungu died in June in South Africa, but disagreements over his final resting place remain unresolved. Meanwhile, the South African funeral parlor keeping Mr. Lungu's body has warned that prolonged storage increases the risk of deterioration, which could occur at any time.
When will former President Edgar Lungu be buried following his death on June 5, 2025? Will he be accorded a state funeral or a private one? And will his successor, President Hakainde Hichilema, preside over the ceremony? These questions remain unanswered nearly 3 months after Mr. Lungu's death in Pretoria, South Africa. The Zambian government, seeking to accord him a dignified state funeral, opposed the family's wish for a private burial in South Africa. On June 24, 2025, Attorney General Mulilo Kavisha filed an urgent application in the Pretoria High Court, which, with the family's consent, halted Mr. Lungu's funeral service and burial that had been scheduled for June 25th in South Africa. The orders opened the way for litigation, with the government seeking an order to repatriate Mr. Lungu's body for a state funeral in Zambia, contrary to the family's preference for a private ceremony, which they argued was justified given the way he was treated. In its application, the government cited several grounds, including public interest and legal precedence. On August 8, 2025, the Pretoria High Court delivered a unanimous judgment ordering the repatriation of Mr. Lungu's body for a state funeral in Zambia. But the Lungu family opposed the ruling, had applied for leave to appeal. Their application was adjourned in the air as they turned to South Africa's highest court, the Constitutional Court, with a direct appeal seeking to overturn the High Court's decision. As the court is yet to decide whether to hear the application, stakeholders, such as Economic Front President Winter Kavimba, have urged the government and the family to resolve the matter outside court.
Courts are not established to deal with moral issues, emotional issues, and feelings of individuals or parties. They're established to deal and resolve legal issues. So whether or not the body risks going bad in the morgue, it's no business of the court, for as long as parties are before the court. So what is the way forward? Parties that are before the court must step back and say, what are we trying to achieve? Okay?
Meanwhile, the Zambian government has designated the Secretary to the Cabinet as the sole and exclusive source of all official statements regarding the ongoing litigation and burial process of Mr. Lungu. All ministers and government agencies have been instructed to refrain from issuing statements on the matter. Before his death, Mr. Lungu had been seeking a return to active politics after losing the August 2020 elections to then opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema, and now president. However, the Constitutional Court disqualified him from contesting again, having already served 2 terms. That ruling was a major turning point for Mr. Lungu. Having stepped back after the 2020 defeat, he had hinted at a possible comeback, but the court's decision ended those prospects and left his party, the Patriotic Front, facing internal challenges as it seeks to redefine its leadership ahead of the 2026 elections. Taras John, Tamo News.
We take our first set of commercials, and when we get back, we have the business news coming up. But for now, I leave you with the weather update. Thereafter, the Diamond Insight is coming up. This is your Diamond Insight on the solar power at Levy and Heroes. The announcement that the National Heroes Stadium in Lusaka and the Levy Mwanawasa Stadium in Dola will soon generate a combined 20 megawatts of solar power is more than just a sports infrastructure upgrade. It is a signal of the direction Zambia must take in tackling its chronic energy challenges. For a country that has been battered by prolonged load shedding and the vulnerabilities of over-reliance on hydropower, this initiative is both timely and symbolic. By converting our largest stadia into power-generating assets, government is not only easing the burden on the national grid, but also showcasing how public infrastructure can be reimagined in the era of renewable energy. The fact that excess power from the installations will feed into surrounding communities further underscores the social value of the project. But symbolism alone is not enough. Zambia has had many well-intentioned energy announcements that have made it beyond the MOU stage. The The true measure of this project will be in its execution, timely completion, transparent financing, and sustained maintenance. Equally, 20 megawatts, while helpful, is a drop in the ocean compared to the country's power deficit. This initiative must therefore be seen as part of a broader national shift towards solar, wind, and other alternative sources that complement hydro. The partnership between the Ministries of Sports, Energy, and their private sector collaborators also raises an important point. Energy diversification cannot be left to one ministry or one company. It requires cross-sectoral creativity, where even stadia, schools, hospitals, and markets become part of the solution. If delivered well, Heroes and Levi Stadium could become models of how Zambia transitions from energy scarcity to energy innovation. What is needed now is consistency, moving from announcements to megawatts on the ground.
Business News is brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Good evening. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8. My name is Tapiwa Ngoma. I will be running you through business stories that are on the news desk this evening. Our first story this evening, ZDA secures $12.2 billion investment in 4 years. Later on, we take a look at Ngoma Market Committee giving traders 2-day ultimatum to return to the market who risk losing trading spaces. We'll also look at the Kwacha's performance of the international market, and we'll close it off with the commodity prices. Stay tuned. Let's get straight to business. The Zambia Development Agency, ZDA, says it has recorded actualized investments worth $12.2 billion out of $86.2 billion in committed investments from 2021 to date. ZDA Director General Albert Halwampa says the actualized investments were drawn from 567 enterprises that registered or expanded between 2021 and 2025. Mr. Halwampa notes that the mining sector recorded the highest actualized investments, amounting to $4.77 billion, representing 39% of the total. He has further disclosed that 68,072 jobs were created against the committed 58,168, representing a 117% job actualization rate from monitored enterprises.
The Zambia Development Agency held a press briefing on Thursday to update the nation on investments that have progressed from commitments to actualization, specifically those recorded by the agency from 2021 to date. ZDA Director General Albert Halwampa has disclosed that the agency has recorded actualized investments worth $12.2 billion out of the $86.2 billion in committed investments since 2021. He has explained that these actualized investments were drawn from 567 companies that were monitored.
So out of the $86.2 billion that we've recorded from August 2021 to August 2025, we have actualized $12.22 billion. I know that's the message, that's the language people are looking for. Actualized investments. But we must tell you how much we planted, because all this $86 billion of committed investments or pledges is the seed. And we know that some of it has already matured and some of it is still germinating. The investors are still watering, bringing equipment, financially closing, looking for other variables, within the investment journey.
Mr. Halwampa has also revealed that 68,072 jobs were created against the committed 58,168, representing a 117% job actualization rate from the monitored enterprises.
In terms of jobs that have been created in this $12 billion actualized amount, we have recorded 68,072 jobs that were recorded as actualized. And this 58,000, out of this 58,168 is from 567 companies, representing 117% actualization rate from the 567 companies monitored. In terms of actualized jobs by sector, which sector has employed more? Of course, manufacturing recorded 28,585, mining 19,882.
The ZDA says it will continue monitoring investment pledges to ensure they translate into tangible projects, jobs and growth for Zambia's economy. Rachel Mumba for Diamond News.
The management of Old Ngoma Market in Lusaka's Mandevu constituency has urged traders who abandoned the facility to return and resume trading. Many traders left the market to sell their goods along the Great North Road, a move that has slowed business for those who remained in the market. Traders within the market have complained that customers now prefer buying from vendors outside, affecting their sales. And market chairman said management wants the traders back to ensure a safe and organized trading environment, warning that roadside trading is dangerous.
Once a thriving commercial hub, Odingoma is now a shadow over its former self. Empty stanza and dwelling cells has now become the new norm. After many traders abandoned the premises for Great North Road, traders who remained in the market say business has now become tough and slow because people tend to buy outside the market.
Chimena tawa abantu muno sisitiziva vatinyamulira na makastoma opereka kuja ndipo sitiziva boma ngati makondwela zimene zili kumene kuja mkati mwa mbali mwa ilozi vanzawo akambopita achoka mpyalo aona market ili mulodi ni chabwino. Makastoma muno sivangena tinkhalamo chabe mene nililina wachikulire ngakatantike mulodi lomba ngati kapena chitraki chapitapo palini mulanda akapasa ndani.
Ino market ni cooperative market tiende pamozi from Odingoma to tiende pamozi nomba ichi alenga echo tufaya tutabwa ichi kalamba ni chinshi ichakufunya abantu no market no kubatwala ku musebo kulya bushaida market ili kumusebo ni market dishinashi ka kwateshi balanda ti chimpwena ichimpwena chinshi ichimpwena na upwalala wapokera fichimo cha kupokera kunuma pum.
Market chairperson Arthur Zulu say that 2 days ultimatum has been given to those that are left the market. Failure to do so, the spots will be given to others.
Wangeni market because wanasiya mastandi so yenango mastandi atinapwanya tufuna wene wake wabwire wachite maintain so tinapasa almost 2 days manja pangati swapura ku still innovate ma shop yawo ya tizachita bwanji tizagulisa zapasa po wenango vane wazambushirapo paleti.
Kenan Siame, Diamond News.
And Indeni Energy Company has assured the nation that it is on course to stabilize the current diesel situation. Company board chairperson Watson Lumba has disclosed that a vessel carrying the commodity has already docked at the port of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania and is awaiting clearance to offload. Mr. Lumba has explained that the matter is being handled through government-to-government collaboration, taking into account operational constraints. He says once the ship is cleared and begins offloading, the fuel supply is expected to normalize within 48 to 72 hours. The board chairperson further clarified that contrary to some media reports, Indeni has not defaulted on its obligations regarding open access and the banking processes linked to diesel procurement.
So our ship called Clear Stars has now berthed in Dar es Salaam, awaiting clearance to offload. This clearance is from the Tanzanian authorities. This matter is being addressed on a collaborative government-to-government communication, while taking into consideration operation constraints on the other side. Once the ship is given authority to offload, the situation should normalize within 48 to 72 hours. We were expecting the ship to start offloading early in the morning, if I may say, but there were some logistical challenges in Dar es Salaam which made the ship not to offload or not to berth immediately as we expected. There seems to be efforts from different media sources to distort information, but this is not in line with facts on the ground. We know there are some media houses which are very sensational in their reporting, and also it depends on who's sponsoring those assertions. The assertion that Indeni has failed in its obligation as perpetuated by cartels against the open access. Challenges are there, but there is no failure. Indeni has met all its obligations of the open access and the banks in regard to its procurement process. At no point, let me emphasize that again, at no point has Indeni violated its terms. The process is governed by an independent team, and Indeni, like all participants in the open access, participate without favor.
ERB, DG, myself, and a few others have been held up in meetings, at times having early meetings, start our meetings at 5, as phone calls at 5, and ending at as late as midnight 01. So we've been working in the background to try and ensure that those don't escalate, and hence the intervention with the support of the government. We've been very supported with the coming from the meeting with the Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet, and we all work together to try and resolve the situation. So the assurance is that as long as we offload, we will not escalate. But in an event that there is still a challenge, we discussed this morning.
Still on business, let's have a look at the Kwacha's performance today. This is the Kwacha's performance against the United States dollar as of close of business earlier today. Let's see that the USD was buying at 23 Kwacha 10 Gwe and it was selling at 23 Kwacha 49 Gwe as of close of business. These rates are brought to you by the Zambia National Commercial Bank and do vary from bank to bank. Those are your money markets. Let's see what the construction commodities look like. The construction commodity prices this evening brought to you by the Zambia National Building Society. Let's have a look at our first item. This is a sink drain pipe. It'll cost you somewhere around 560 kwacha when you purchase one of these. Let's see our next item this evening that you can purchase. This is building sand, and we're looking at this costing you about 4,320 kwacha per 20 metric tons of this commodity. Very essential when you're building your dream house. These are brought to you by the Zambia National Building Society. Those are construction commodity prices. Let's shift our attention now and see what our commodity prices are looking like. The commodity prices are something like this, starting with our food items. 1 kg of beef at 110 kwacha on average. 1 kg of sugar will cost you nothing more than 37 kwacha. A tray of eggs is starting at 95 kwacha, while 5 liters of cooking oil will go nothing above 300 kwacha. Your 25 kg bag of breakfast mini meal will cost you nothing more than 310 kwacha. Stay where you are. Your non-food items are a little like this as far as the prices are concerned. Average price of 10 rolls of toilet paper is 85 kwacha, 35 kwacha for a multi-purpose soap, that is a bar. 500 grams of washing powder between 40 and 45 kwacha, that's for 500 grams, and 3.5 kg will cost you between 220 and 265 kwacha. These altogether are your commodity prices. That concludes our business this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We continue with the rest of the news desk at 8. My name is Tapo Ngoma. Have a pleasant evening.
Business News was brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial
Let's continue with the rest of the news desk. First Lady Mutinta Hichilema has hailed health workers as heroes, praising their sacrifice and dedication in serving the nation. The First Lady says good health care is not only about medicine, but also about creating an environment of dignity, kindness, and hope for patients. Mrs. Hichilema made the remarks when she donated mattresses, blankets, foodstuffs, wheelchairs, and other essentials to Monze General Hospital in Southern Province, noting that the gesture was aimed at improving patient comfort and recovery. In addition, 120 sewing machines have been handed over to cooperatives in Southern Province to empower women and young people with business opportunities.
First Lady Mtinta Hichilema was thunderously welcomed to Monza General Hospital, accompanied by ministers' spouses, Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua and other senior government officials. The atmosphere was not short of songs and dances as residents expressed joy and gratitude. The First Lady has donated mattresses, blankets, foodstuffs, wheelchairs and sewing machines to be given to cooperatives across Southern Province.
Good health care is not only about medicine and treatment. It is about providing a situation that promotes healing, kindness, and hope. Every Zambian deserves access to safe, clean, and dignified medical care. Let me take this opportunity to thank the health workers across Zambia. You are our heroes, and we thank you. I will repeat that again. You are our heroes, and we thank you for your services and dedication.
The hospital superintendent and the provincial minister says they are humbled by the generous donation aimed at improving patient care.
We are particularly encouraged by the alignment between your office's agenda and that of the healthcare mission to save, to heal, and to uplift those most in need. You have shown us what it means to lead with empathy, dignity, and purpose. On behalf of the people of Southern Province, and Monza District in particular, I wish to express our sincere appreciation for your continued support.
Your support will enable us to enhance the overall quality of care offered at Monze Mission General Hospital. To the entire team involved in making this event possible and successful, thank you for your tireless efforts.
The First Lady also took time to tour the postnatal ward, where she interacted with mothers and newborns.
Imagine. Maybe you can suggest the name before you go. Is your name HH?
Yes, I name him Hakainde. No, she has to consult the family.
As part of a countrywide program, so far, general hospitals such as Kasama, Solwezi, and Lewanika have already benefited from similar donations, underscoring the nation's vision of ensuring that no Zambian is left behind in accessing dignified health care. Victoria Kayeye, Yambani, Diamond News.
Moving on, works for the construction of the largest school of excellence for children with disabilities in Munali constituency are resumed after it was abandoned 10 years ago. Blessing Banda, a resident of Kaunda Square, has described the development as a positive step by government, noting that the school will play a vital role in supporting children with disabilities in Zambia. Rachel Chako, Public Relations Officer at the Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities, has welcomed the progress, stressing that Zambia has very few schools catering specifically to children with disabilities. And Munali Member of Parliament, Mike Mposha, has confirmed that the project is being funded by the European Union to ensure its completion.
For persons with disability in Munali, which had been abandoned for over 10 years, is now back under construction. Blessing Banda, a resident of Kaunda Square, says she is delighted about the development.
He said, one, that school ni yakudala, and then it was more like a white elephant. Papa Nwambo Imanga said, why? Because vana vatu vazapezeka vazaenda ku school kuli vaja vana vakuti maybe muma government schools wenzo vakana kuti vaende vachitechani vapunzire vijazeho, but apa vazankala na access yoenda ku school kwenda kupunzira na kuchita chani na kufikiriza maplans yao yanawafuna mlife.
Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities, ZAPITI, Public Relations Officer Rachel Chako says she is pleased with the progress being made on site.
So this year they came in and fulfilled the promise. We're happy, and looking at the fact that in Zambia we have very few schools that offer special education to children with disabilities. So Monali being completed and it's under construction, yes, and for it to be completed, that will be a plus for us, because then we'll have more children with disabilities get access to education.
In a phone interview, Member of Parliament Mike Mposha confirmed that the School for Persons with Disabilities, referred to as a School of Excellence, is expected to be completed by December or January.
The significance of this project is that it will really help a lot of school-going children living with disabilities. It's a school of excellence, and I think that it is indeed long overdue. Looking at as the population is growing, it is important that we should also, expand in terms of infrastructure, in terms of learning facilities, particularly for our children who are living with disabilities. So we're very, very happy that the project has commenced, and we hope that by December, January, it will be completed.
He added that the school will accommodate a large number of persons with disabilities, describing the project as a milestone in advancing education. Nicholas Njovo, Damo News.
We take our last break and return with more news updates. We'll be right back. A few minutes before we get to close off today's edition of the News Desk, but let's get into the next news item. Despite the Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022, Section 11, which affirms every child's right to health care, a responsibility placed on parents, some parents continue to deny consent for adolescents to access health care services such as contraceptives. This comes amid a rise in teenage pregnancies in parts of Zambia, including Chadiza, where cases increased from 319 in the second quarter of 2024 to 364 in the same period this year. Youth say one of the challenges fueling the trend is that adolescents under 16 cannot obtain contraceptives at health facilities without parental consent. Despite some being sexually active and even dropping out of school due to pregnancy, several parents remain opposed to giving such consent.
Some parts of Zambia have recorded a rise in teenage pregnancies, with Chadiza reporting an increase from 319 to 364 cases. Some youth say this rise is linked to a lack of access to parental consent.
6 adolescents that came for family planning. These are adolescents that have been getting family planning previously, but because of what has been added, they were sent back to come back with consent. Believe it or not, 5 or 4 from that group will come back pregnant.
Meanwhile, parents in Garden Chilulu have reacted with mixed feelings, saying it is impossible to give consent for adolescents to access contraceptives.
On that she's sleeping around, I won't allow her to get these family planning things, because I just have to sit her down to tell her the challenges. Because it's not like nikamuza taende family planning. It's not only the child she will bring. No. ni vambiri.
Unga pano nkhalakolo sindingavomekeze mwana kuti aende ku clinic ambotenga ma family planning mwana wa 16 years.
Supposed to keep herself until she completes her education and gets married. As mothers, we only started taking contraceptives in marriage, so I cannot give consent to a child who is not married.
Tinafika pano tinamwepo ma family planning kuti tiambe kubara vana tinamba muchikwati kuamba kuma ma family planning noti mwana akalibe kwatiro aende clinic akatenge mankwara iyayi.
The Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022 makes it clear that it is the responsibility of parents to ensure a child has access to health care, yet this issue shows there is still a gap in practice. Edna Mwimbi.
That news item brings us to the end of tonight's edition of the Newsdesk at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate your engagement for tonight's edition of the Newsdesk. Coming up at 21:15 hours is This Day Investigations. We give you a piece on a group of over 50 people who speak a language known as Kefo. Now, according to the leader of this group, he says this language was taught to them by their god, known as Suyani. So tune in at 21:15 hours for This Day Investigations. My name is Justin Mulenga. Good night.